next global weather disaster might already be starting. Not in the sky, not on land, and not from a hurricane, cyclone, or storm. Instead, it's unfolding thousands of kilometers away in the Pacific Ocean, where scientists are tracking a massive shift that could influence weather across nearly every continent on Earth. You can't see it from your window. You probably won't hear about it until its effects begin. Yet this invisible force has the power to trigger floods, droughts, heat waves, food shortages, and billions of dollars in damage. Its name is El Niño. And what scientists are seeing in 2026 has the world paying attention. Imagine a giant pool of warm water stretching across the Pacific Ocean. Not the size of a country, not even the size of a continent. We're talking about an area so vast that it can influence weather patterns across the entire planet. Normally, powerful trade winds push warm surface water toward Asia and Australia. At the same time, cold, nutrient-rich water rises near South America. This balance has existed for thousands of years. But every few years, something unusual happens. The trade winds weaken. The warm water begins moving eastward. And that's when El Niño is born. What makes El Niño so dangerous isn't what it is, it's what it does next. Think of Earth's climate as a giant network of dominoes. When the Pacific Ocean changes, everything connected to it begins reacting. Rainfall patterns shift, storm tracks move, temperatures rise. Some regions experience severe flooding. Others face devastating droughts. But here's something many people don't know. El Niño doesn't simply change the weather. It can temporarily raise the average temperature of the entire planet. The Pacific Ocean stores enormous amounts of heat. During El Niño, part of that heat escapes into the atmosphere, acting like a giant planetary heater. In fact, some of the hottest years ever recorded were strongly influenced by El Niño events. And in a world already warming due to climate change, that extra heat can have significant consequences. Now here's one of the most fascinating parts. Scientists often know El Niño is coming before most people see any signs at all. That's because some of the earliest clues are hidden deep beneath the ocean surface. Massive underwater pulses of warm water, known as Kelvin waves, travel across the Pacific months before El Niño fully develops. Think of them as invisible messengers carrying heat across the ocean. By tracking these underwater movements using satellites, buoys, and advanced computer models, scientists can often detect the early stages of El Niño long before it begins affecting weather around the world. In a sense, El Niño announces its arrival months before most people realize it's coming. When people hear about El Niño, they usually think about unusual weather, but some of its most surprising effects happen far from the headlines. Take the ocean food chain. Normally, cold water rising near South America brings nutrients from the deep ocean to the surface. These nutrients support plankton. The plankton feed fish. The fish feed larger marine animals. Millions of livelihoods depend on this system. But during El Niño, that nutrient supply can weaken dramatically. Fish populations may migrate or decline. Entire fishing industries can suffer. A change in ocean temperature can end up affecting what appears on dinner tables thousands of kilometers away. That's how interconnected our planet really is. El Niño itself isn't new. It has been occurring for centuries. What's different today is the world in which it's happening. Human-driven climate change has already increased global temperatures. That means any future El Niño begins with a warmer starting point than events from previous generations. Scientists are now studying an important question. What happens when one of Earth's most powerful natural climate systems interacts with a planet that's already warming? The answer could influence weather, agriculture, ecosystems, and economies across the globe. And that's why climate experts are watching the Pacific Ocean so closely in 2026. Because what happens there rarely stays there. The most powerful forces on Earth aren't always visible. Sometimes they begin as subtle changes in a distant ocean. Yet those changes can ripple across the entire world. And El Niño is one of the greatest examples of that. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden forces shaping our planet, subscribe to Karlek Explains for more fascinating stories, science, mysteries, and incredible facts that most people never hear about. Because the world is far more connected and far more surprising than it first appears.